Pam go? She disappeared. Pam.
Oh, she went to the police.
Mary was the same.
Check. Figaro. Figaro. Now, unfortunately, not unfortunately, I'm going to have to move the camera because you can't see the candles. Oh, not that it's. I think they understand, but let's see where we're at.
Well, as long as it hasn't changed, oh, that's right. Because they took what was printed out, they took what was online and cut out the names.
No, good question.
Janice, I confirmed it. All right. This is the initial data. All right, this is the most nasty. Okay, that's 3. usually do the, when do we usually do the sermon?
Who, what?
When do we normally do the sermon? It's before the
After
Mishpah.
Mishabara.
After Mishpah?
Yeah.
After Mishpah, before leave?
After
Okay.
Mishabara.
Okay.
And before what?
Um,
Yes. I think that was one of the- I don't know if it was-
I have this one. All right, rock and roll. I'm ready. We need a congregant to do the lighting, and if there's an on me, I'm gonna do it.
rewriting my speech.
from Chris Wesson.
Can we even have a service tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
Good choice.
But as long as everybody online counts. Because otherwise we wouldn't have had a service for the last year and a half. So everyone who just.
And there are, if we include the security, we have 10 people.
Do what, the Jewish people?
Oh, yeah, it doesn't, they do have to be Jewish.
Where's our security people from?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I just thought it was 10 adults. I mean, yeah, we are reformed.
I don't know who they are.
Can you hear me okay?
Testing, okay.
Oh, yeah, he did a check.
Are we live?
Probably close.
Sound good on me?
Good evening and good Shabbos. My name is Pam Lowe. I am filling in for Rabbi Moray tonight. And accompanying me is, I'll let you introduce yourselves.
Edie Joseph?
Michelle Billy.
All right. So we welcome you. And we're glad to have you with us. We know that some of you are local in the Erie area. Some of you are elsewhere in Pennsylvania. Some of you are in other parts of the country. And so we all do come together as a kahila, as a community. We will begin welcoming Shabbat tonight with the lighting of our Shabbat candles. And it's my pleasure to invite our temple president, Janice Whitmer's house, to light our Shabbat candles.
Easier said than done.
Oh, I'm not good at these either.
We'll invite our past president to help with the lighting of the candles. Mhm. Thank you, Edie. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat.
We continue on page 8 in your Siddur. And let's read together. Ready? I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. We continue on page 10 with the singing of Hine Matov.
Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'monayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Very nice. Thank you. We continue welcoming Shabbat with the singing of L'cha Dodi on page 20. When we sing L'cha Dodi, we're making an analogy between a bride, in this case, a bride and Shabbat. In fact, the Shabbat bride is what we envision. And so when we get to the end of this song, we actually stand up and face the doors. We're welcoming the bride into her sanctuary. So L'cha Dodi on page 20.
L'cha l'cha dodi, Penei penei Shabbat l'cha 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 dodi, l'krat kala, Penei penei Shabbat l'cha Shamor b'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamnuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad. L'shem u'tiferet v'liti la 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 chadodi, l'krat kala, Penei penei Shabbat nekabela. L'cha l'cha dodi, l'krat kala, Penei penei Shabbat nekabela. L'krat Shabbat l'chu v'nelcha, Ki mechor habracha, merosh mekedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machasha, Batahi la l'cha l'cha dodi, l'krat kala, Penei penei Shabbat nekabela. L'cha l'cha dodi, l'krat kala, Penei penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi b'shalom al teret bala, Gam b'simcha u'tzachala, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, la 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 l'cha dodi, l'krat kala, Penei penei Shabbat nekabela. L'cha dodi, l'krat kala, Penei penei Shabbat nekabela.
Please be seated, and we will continue. Instead of singing Shalom Aleichem this time, I thought we would together read the English. So the bottom of page 24. Peace be to you, O ministering angels, messengers of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Enter in peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Bless me with peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Depart in peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. On page 26 is our Reader's Cottage.
Yitkadav, Shemei Rabbah, B'yamadi Barach Yerute, B'yam Lich Malchute, B'chayechon, U'v'yomechon, U'v'chaye Dekol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, U'bizman Kariv, B'maru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Le'alam Alal Me'amaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitroman, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudashah, Brichu, La'ela, Min Kol Berchata, Bashir, Ratah,
Tushbechata Benechemata Dami Rambi Alma Bimaru. Amen.
So this Kiddush, or rather the Reader's Kaddish, it ends the first part of the service, the preliminary, the warm-up, the welcoming of the service. We then go into the middle part of the service, which is known as the Baruch Hu. And the Baruch Hu is our formal call to worship. And it's basically a call because our leaders will call you to worship, and you, our congregants, respond with the second line. Please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Leolam Vayed.
You may be seated. Page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Zvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Okay. Join me, please, on page 32 in the English. Together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And let's see. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and grows. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We continue with the Shema on page 34. If it's your custom, please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Leolam Vayed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Leolam Vayed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
And we continue on the next page with the singing of the V'ahavta. You may be seated.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadabarim ha'ela asher anochi metzavacha hayom olav avecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uvshachbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu latotafot beinenecha uchtabtam amazuzo beitecha ubisharecha Laman tizkaru basitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher chotzeti etchem me'eretz mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet.
Let's read together responsively on page 39 at the bottom. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. Heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. And I would just like to tell Jan Mandel that no, I did not bring my conga drums tonight. So we are doing this more orally, okay?
Page
All right.
40, Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Nora tehilot, osei vele, Nora tehilot, Oh, say, Fela Adonai, Yimloch Leolam Bayed, Malchutecha Rauvanecha, Bokei Ayam, Livnei Moshe, Ze'eli Anu V'yamaru, Ze'eli Anu V'yamaru, Adonai, Yimloch Leolam Bayed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar ba'kodesh, Nora tehilot, osei fele, Nora tehilot, Oh, say, Fele Adonai, Yimloch Leolam Vayed.
Sounding really good. Thank you. Very cool. Page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. We continue on the top of page 45. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We continue with the singing of Vishamru on page 44.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Beini ubein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Beshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam. Ubayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'ridolam.
We continue on page 46, the tefillah, also known as the Amidah, and the word Amidah means to stand. So if you're able, please stand for the Amidah.
Adonai sefataticha ufia gita hilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Gula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeach Kol Atav Rav Le'Yoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechachel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabbi, Somech Nofli B'Rofeh Holy, Umatir Asuri, Umkayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha melach, melech peni tumachayeh, umatz miyam Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yahalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. Where do I go to find you, exalted, hidden one? Yet where would I not go to find you, ever-present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you. Please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Find favor, Adonai, our God, with your people Israel, and accept their prayer in love. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. God, who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants. Pour out your spirit upon us. Please join me on page 59 at the top together. Ready? God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ucha na'eh lahodot. We continue with a few moments of silent prayer.
Oh, say shalom b'marav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'akol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael.
Our hearts and thoughts now turn to Sunrise, Florida, and the victims and their families of the recent building collapse. We pray that all that are missing are found safe. We pray for their healing, and we pray for the well-being of the first responders and those involved with the searching. We pray for comfort and understanding for the families and the entire South Florida community. If you are joining us online, I invite you to write in our chat box the names of those you want included in our Misha Barak, our healing prayer. If you are here in person, feel free to share out loud any names for healing. In our community, we include these names in our healing prayer: Greg Bennett, Michael Byron, Andrea Kepner Blake, Scott Gordon, Patricia Heipel, Rebecca Gottlieb, Julian Howell, Zachary Jackson, Carol Love, Dane Marcinowski, Bob Bush, Burko Shervatsky, Bruce Harrell, Jim McCann, Fran Porras, Timothy Talman, Lorraine Wellington, Mattea Press, Cicely Gingrich, Cora Harpner, David Spanger. We continue with our prayer for healing on page 253, the Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Laimotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Good evening and good Shabbos. When we say the morning prayers, we say the famous verse from this week's Parsha, which is Parsha Balak, which can be found, just to give you a reference, in the book of Numbers, chapter 22, verse 2 to chapter 25, verse 9. So when we say the morning prayers, we say the famous verse, Parsha Balak, which is often sung to the beautiful melody, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenatecha Yisrael. So these words mean, how fair are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. So this prayer is part of the morning blessings, and it consists of several biblical verses that express our joy at coming into, if we're praying in the sanctuary or at home, our joy and our reverence for the divine presence. So this week's Parsha tells the story of Balak, king of Moab, and Balaam, a sorcerer. So when Balak sees the Israelites' victory over the Amorites, he's alarmed, he's concerned, fearing that the Israelites are too powerful to defeat in battle. He sends for Balaam and instructs him to curse the Israelites. At first, God forbids Balaam to accept this mission, but later God allows him to go if he agrees to obey God's commands. So in the community of Moab, Balaam tells Balak to build him 7 altars. Balak does as Balaam bids, and they sacrifice a bull and a ram on each of these altars. Then Balaam speaks to God and proceeds to bless Israel. But this enrages Balak, and he takes Balaam to 2 more altars, and they repeat the sacrifices these 2 more times. But in each place where Balaam opens his mouth to curse the people, only blessings emerge. So why did God prevent Balaam from cursing the Israelites? Why was it necessary to turn the curse into a blessing? Well, commentators, of course, have debated this very question. Some commentators believe that this was just done to teach Balaam a lesson, that he was not his own master, that he was not in control. He had no choice but to utter the words that the Almighty had already put into his mouth. Another commentator around the 15th century suggests that God was concerned for Israel's safety. He states, quote, "Had Balaam cursed Israel, the surrounding nations would have plucked up the courage and gone to do battle with Israel on the strength of his curse. But when they heard how God had turned them into blessings, they would realize who was master and would lose all desire to fight his people." So from this point of view, the turning of Balaam's words into blessing served a very useful purpose. One other commentary says, quote, "Balaam did not have it in his power to either curse or to bless. The blessing was redundant. God had already blessed, and the curse was ineffective. Why then did God prevent him from cursing? Because having seen Israel's future sins and punishments, God did not want the nations to say it was Balaam's curse that caused it." It is important to note that in this biblical time that, quote, ancient and primitive peoples considered that curse was more than just words, that it actually carried some weight, that it was a method for transforming or translating harmful words into reality. The Israelites believed in these curses. Even God was troubled by Balaam's potential actions and decided to compel him to bless the people instead. In this way, the Torah reflects the serious nature of pronouncing curses and blessings. So when we hear Ma Tovu during the worship service, it reminds us of Balaam's blessings of the Israelites. We, as modern day people, we come to services with much on our minds, right? I'm sure you had a lot going on today. Stress. Edie was telling me about her traffic situation coming over. So we have a lot on our minds when we come into services. Our worries, tragic events in the world, like unfortunately what just happened in South Florida. And as a result, we might think of cursing, but may we be like Balaam. May we hear God's words so that we too may turn our cursings into blessings. So I want to leave you with 2 questions. I want you to think to yourself, what are the blessings in your life? And also, how do you turn your curses into blessings? Shabbat shalom. Our service continues. Okay. I've lost my place, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Michelle, would you like to open the ark for the Alenu? Please rise for the Alenu on page 282.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adot hakol, l'teit gdula liotzer b'reshit, Shelo asanu kikoye haratzot, velo samanu kumishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu gahem, v'go rabenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachabim umodim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Okay. Emar, V'haya Adonai,
Lamelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yiyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Thank you. You may be seated. When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear, but if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those about us. The psalmist said in his affliction, he learned the law of God. And in truth, grief is a great teacher when it sends us back to serve and bless the living. We learn how to counsel and comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silent in their presence and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. Thus, even when they are gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live as, in their higher moments, they themselves wish to live. We remember them now. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding blessing. We are currently in the Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period for Karen Levitt Carter, and we observe the following yard sites on this Shabbat: Imfred Mercury, Isaac Oppenheimer, Sophia Tutor, Edward A. Zaks, Meyer Shapiro, Bennett Davis, Julius Michael, Teresa Myers, Blanche H. Grod, Isaac Oppenheimer, Abraham Waxelbaum, Julius Weiss, Esther Bloom, Jenny M. Strauss, Florence Holtz, Alice Weitz, Emmanuel Lionel Rosen, Herbert Rosenbaum, and Camille Rittenberg Schuster. And if you have names of other yard sites you'd like to honor and you're online, feel free to add those to our chat. Anyone in our congregation, if you'd like to share a name with us, please do. We rise for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yikadal v'yikada shemei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirite v'yamlik malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalel v'yithalal shemei dekudusho bariku le'ela minkol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shmaya V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You may be seated. I call on our temple president, Janice, for any announcements.
Okay, before I give announcements, first, I'd like to thank Pam for leading us so beautifully tonight. That was wonderful, like your Devar Torah. And also Edie and Michelle for leading the music too. Really appreciate that. And also for Brad Ford, who is bringing this to all of you at home. Otherwise, it would just be a service for us here locally in the temple today. But Brad Ford is making sure everybody out there can enjoy the service too. So thank you to Brad. Services this weekend are in memory of Alice Weiss, Julius Weiss, and Edward A. Zacks. May their memory always be for a blessing. And then announcements, there is Torah study tomorrow. And who's leading the Torah study? Craig is leading the Torah study, so please join Torah study led by Craig Reynolds. And there's links in the newsletter and so forth that you can get to that. On Monday is the Temple Book Club, and that will be at 5:30, back to our old pre-COVID location of Perkins. And we have some new people joining us, so I'm excited about that. It's open to everybody and anybody. Just email me so that we can make sure we have enough seats for everybody who's coming. And on Saturday, July 10th at 7 p.m., Kenny Chinsky will welcome you to a celebration of the life of Lisa Chinsky, and family and friends will gather here at Temple from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And with that, I am asking, if the parking lot is filled up, to try not to block the street on Harinda and so forth, to park on other streets or not block both ways. And please note, this year, High Holy Days begin on August 28th. That's right, in August. Rosh Hashanah actually falls on Labor Day. So with that in mind, just realize that there'll be a flyer with the High Holy dates and times and so forth in your July newsletter. Be looking for that. And your 5782 High Holy Day packets will be mailed out in early July. Makes you feel like summer's already gone. So make sure that you look for that. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Thank you, Janice. Okay, all right. I invite back Edie and Michelle. And I too want to add my thank yous to Edie and Michelle for lending your beautiful voices tonight for our service. And thank you also to Brad. And thank you for those of you who came to services tonight. And our closing song.
Thank you. This evening's closing song is Am Yisrael Chai. It can be found on page 338. It sort of starts out slow, and then we build up, and we sing it fast, and then we slow down again. So it's in the middle of the page. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael. I'm Yisrael Chai. I'm Yisrael, I'm Yisrael, I'm Yisrael Chai. I'm Yisrael, I'm Yisrael, I'm Yisrael Chai. I'm Yisrael Chai. Hey, I'm Yisrael Chai. Hey, I'm Yisrael, I'm Yisrael, I'm Yisrael Chai.
Hey.
So that certainly didn't sound my best, but I want to invite everyone next week when Debbie Comey will be leading us in song, and I will be leading services. I would certainly hope that we have a major big turnout like we had tonight. That would be awesome. So with that, our
All right.
Yasher Koach to our service leader this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I call for Craig to lead us in the Kiddush, and Edie will lead us in the Motzi. Kiddush first, yes.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen.
Amen. Chaim.
Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Have a great
Please-
weekend.
Please take a slice of life home with you as we start, still Shabbat.